Hello everyone, this is Michelle Davignon and Tina Gilbert. We are doing a quick little demonstration of anti-age treatment system. We've been asked by people around the world, some of our partners and our clients, if we could just do a quick demo like we do for at our shows. And Michelle is going to demonstrate this product, which has been extraordinarily successful, the anti-age line, so that you have a better idea of how to do it at your own salon. So Michelle, take it away.
Hi everybody, thank you for being here today. Tina, I'm going to anti-age you now.
I need anti-aging.
We're going to start with one hand. This is going to be a demonstration as if we were doing it in a booth. The other suggestion that we do is once you bring on this line, this is a great way to introduce people to the anti-age benefits by offering an event, a 2 or 4 hour event, maybe light refreshments, and all you do is invite your clients in and offer to do one-hand demonstrations for them. And this has been very successful because it's one of those products that once they see the results, they're going to want to have their second hand and their body and their face and everything else done.
So Michelle, we know that around the world and even in the United States, different states, we have different regulations and requirements about when somebody enters in the salon.
Absolutely.
What you need to do from hygiene. So can you start off explaining what we do?
Absolutely. So there are two ways, obviously, for protection. We use our gloves, and when we use gloves, you're absolutely protecting yourself 100%. We also have a product that we work with, which is called Codan spray, which in 2 minutes has complete efficacy, and it's sprayed on your hands, and then it's sprayed on your guest prior to doing any service.
And we do offer those in wipes as well.
They are offered in wipes, and they are fabulous if you're doing any pedicures and you're doing toe flossing.
Right.
Which is a complete different video.
Correct. Okay, so with this process, because we're doing a demonstration as we would at a trade show, for example, why don't we go ahead and show them how we're going to proceed with this?
Absolutely. So I'm going to ask my guest to please give me their hand, whichever they prefer. Rings off, obviously, and jewelry. And the first thing that you're going to do is get your products prepared. You're going to Codan both hands. This, by the way, is non-drying, so it's a really nice sanitizer. It's, you know, if you use a sanitizer that is drying a client's hand out, you're only using it on them once during a service. But for ourselves, we're using it continually. So for that reason as well, it's great to be able to not have something that will dry your hands out. She's prepped, and what I'm going to do now is use our hand and nail bath concentrate.
Just take a zoom in on that one.
Sure.
This comes also in a larger size that we have here.
So if I was doing this service not in a booth setting or doing it just as a guest, if I was doing it for a guest in my salon or spa, you could certainly work with filling any one of the dishes with any of the back bar and working off of that. Scooping. You could use spatulas, any of that. But for us, we're going to be working right out of our bottles, which is what we do when we're in a booth situation. So you're going to put a little hand and nail bath concentrate, about that much, really not a lot. A little bit more, obviously, if you're doing 2 hands versus 1, but we're doing 1 today. And if you're in a setting where you don't have a lot of access to water or you're not portable, using a continual spray bottle is a great alternative.
Yeah, these are awesome.
Now, I will say the one thing is do not fill this with warm water and expect warm water to come out of it. The way the mechanism works with the continual spray mist, it's going to spray cold regardless. So that's the one caveat, if anything, about using this. You're going to take your foundation brush and froth, and I wish you could smell this.
Right, and we typically at a trade show we will give it to the guest sitting in front of us under their nose and just have them smell the scent. A little bit behind this service is we have taken from our skincare training the concepts of a facial and applied it to the hand. The brush technique here with this, it's called a stippling brush. It's a nice flat tip brush. Is something you would use in a face care treatment on a more elegant level. And the experience that a client has when they feel this brush, it really is phenomenal. And it is really the start of an experience beyond which they've never had at the chair. It feels great. It's luxurious. You know, Michelle, we pay attention to the palm of the hand in addition just to the top and the fingers. So this brush helps both clean, but then also sets the stage for a very luxurious experience.
Absolutely, and I'd also like to mention to anyone who is still doing wet manicures, we all know that your polish retention, your gel polish retention is always better when you're doing a dry manicure, but oftentimes your clients resist because they feel like they aren't getting clean or they're missing some step. And when you're doing this, not only are you eliminating having them soak, so your polish retention is so much better, but you're adding luxury to that service. So it's a big differentiator.
Right. You can have a nice bowl
you can
with beads at the bottom, anything for their hands to play in, whatever you typically do.
You could certainly put a large bowl here, have a warm pitcher of water, and this is what they do in Europe oftentimes, and then just gently rinse the hand off with the water. Now, what I'm going to do is spray Mist Her. What you could also do as an alternative is if you have hot towels, this is a beautiful time to use your hot towels. There's several times in this process that you would like to do that. And obviously if you're working at a booth or if you're working in, you know, an area where you don't have access to all those things, this is a great alternative.
Right, a nice warm towel is a wonderful feeling for a client.
You keep Ben up over there. Now at this stage, I will actually ask my client to feel their hand because they won't believe the difference already in the skin, and we haven't even started our prep yet. This is just our cleanse.
Right, the look and the feel.
So pull your hand closer so everyone can feel.
Can you feel that?
The next step is exfoliation. And we're going to be using our peeling cream and a spatula. And what this is going to do is it's going to prep the skin for the rest of our treatment. So you're going to apply a small amount.
And Michelle, what's in the peeling cream?
So this does not contain microbeads. It's actually hydrogenated castor oil beads. They're very cylindric, so they're neither salt or sugar. Oftentimes salt and sugar, since they're naturally occurring substances, do tend to be either too soft or too rough.
And this feels gentle but effective. So I don't feel that if you had a client with aging skin, really thin skin, that this would bother them at all. This is a very gentle peeling.
And it's put on dry. You don't add water to it. And as you work it, it becomes almost a gommage. Again, something that we've borrowed from skincare. And what happens is eventually this will break down and it will almost become a peeling.
Right, right. And again, making sure you pay attention to the palm of the hand. So many people have eczema or really dry patches on the palms of their hands.
Right.
Great pressure points too on the palms so that you're adding a bit of luxury.
Absolutely. The other thing that I would recommend is anytime you're working with someone who has aging skin, focus on their knuckles, particularly when you're doing this particular treatment. Because I want you to take a quick look after the video at your own knuckles and notice that they are the one thing that is showing signs probably faster than you'd like.
I think there are a lot of things that show signs of aging faster than we would like.
That is
that's another discussion.
very, very true. So just to speed up the video a little, I'm going to.
Still feels great.
It does, but you would probably want anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes on this, typically in a treatment.
Now, in a salon environment, would you be doing one hand at a time, having one hand soak while you're doing this? How would you? I
usually do it alternating, but what I do is have a very comfortable cotton towel. So once one is done, and similar to a pedicure, you would then wrap that hand while you proceeded with the other hand.
Gotcha.
You want to keep them comfortable.
Right. And then it's nice to have continuity in service.
Absolutely. The thing that I like the most about the anti-age system in general is there are certain steps that we're going over that really must be done in sequence, but what you do to add to it to make it as luxurious or quick as you'd like, you can choose to do that. You can choose to work with hot towels. You can choose to, as we get into it, there are different things that you can add to it. As long as the certain steps are followed, you're going to see results. And the beautiful thing is it's cumulative results. It's also instant results, and they're maintainable results.
Yeah, I know that when we're at trade shows and we do one hand, they're practically begging for that second hand to
Some
be done.
of them sneak and try to get that second hand.
But we
take off those sunglasses. I know who you are.
Right. Get that wig off. We intentionally make them walk around with that one hand done, and so they really truly get the sense of the impact of the service.
This is again where a hot towel would come in very, very handy. You want to make sure that you get all of the tiny beads off.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of our smaller challenges when we're doing this quickly at a trade show, at a demo, is that it's hard sometimes to get every little bit off, but most people understand that it's a quicker process at a trade show.
And a hot towel is just a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yes.
All right, so you are ready and prepped for our lifting concentrate.
Ooh, my favorite.
Ooh, your favorites. Now, before I do your favorites, there are 2 different units that we use. Now, I want to explain to you first and foremost, neither of these need to be used. These products were all designed to be small enough, molecular, so that they can penetrate into the hands. If you are doing it without the assistance of either of the galvanic, ultrasound, or light therapy units, what you need to do is apply as you would with these, but then you need to press and push, very similar as a serum in a facial, and you're going to press it into the skin.
And I think what I've found is that you're going to have different absorption rates with different clients, just like you would in skincare. Some have very dry skin, and before you know it, that serum's absorbed into their skin before you even have a chance to get the light unit working, if that's the case.
Absolutely. I've actually had to go back at least another time because they were so thirsty.
Right.
So there's 2 units. This is called our Studio Skin Expert. It is galvanic, ultrasound, and light therapy all in the same unit. It has different functions that you can change galvanic from a 1 strength to a 5. You can change ultrasound from 1 to 5. And then you can change your 3 light therapies from blue, red, and green. Now, the difference in this is wonderful when you're working in skincare and aesthetics for face, décolleté, hands, feet. 1 to 5 is very important in skincare. because you would never want to set your unit to a 5, which is the highest strength, when you're working on very delicate areas. I'm working on someone's hand, which is typically pretty dense skin, so I do set this to a 4 or a 5 typically. That's one of our options. The second one is called the Wrinkle Remover Expert, and as you can tell, this is meant perfectly for legs. This works great on calves. We use it on the skin. What it does is it has galvanic, ultrasound, and light therapy. The only thing that can be changed in this, it's set already to almost a level 2 for galvanic, probably 2 for your ultrasound. Then you can change your colors in your light therapy, red, green, or blue. The other thing that is very unique about this one is once you're working with it, you can actually see a vibration. So when I get the serum on, I think I'm going to choose to use this one on you today, Tina.
Right. I think for small salons who offer skincare as well as hand and leg treatment services in which you would use this, the professional unit is perfect because it has the ability to go into both treatment areas. The professional unit, the Studio Skin Expert, it gives you the option to use any of those therapies, one or the other or a combination thereof. This little guy is great, but again, it's the only varying feature are those lights.
So one push, that turns the entire machine on, and then a gentle push will change your lights. Now you're never going to use a blue light. And the reason you don't use a blue light is because that is more for a skincare treatment such as acne. And you're not going to be working on situations like that on these areas. I've turned it off. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to use, let's see.
Okay, I have the age spots.
She has a few slight age spots, but I don't see crepey. I love it. So I'm going to go to green. Now the reason I'm going to green versus red is typically when someone is very crepey, I will go with red. If they have more of an age spot situation, I will go with green. The benefits to red and green are very similar as far as collagen, reproduction, how far it can penetrate into the skin. Green tends to be able to go deeper and eliminate and at least
or lighten
the
hyperpigmentation.
Any hyperpigmentation.
Yeah,
so
catch
we're
me
going
in
to
the
go with
wintertime,
green.
and then I have the dark, the dry, crepey skin.
So you cannot probably see this vibration. Tina can most certainly feel it.
And it actually has a calming effect, strangely enough.
Oh, I think it's wonderful. I wish we could get something like this for my entire body someday.
Well, that does work for the entire body.
I know, but I'd have to find somebody to do that. Any takers?
So I think for people who have really delicate skin, really sensitive skin, you'll probably want to ask them if they're feeling any discomfort. Certainly the vibration doesn't create any discomfort, but you do feel a slight warmth to this
What we
machine.
usually hear back from people is what they're feeling, if anything, is an activity. And that is part because the product itself is active, and that's part because you're using this.
It's friction.
So there's not going to be stinging or burning of any kind. Most people actually rather enjoy it.
Yeah. And how long would you say for someone to use one of the light therapies, or the experts with the
What I
service?
typically say is anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. Now, that also depends. You will be able to tell. I can tell right now that her skin has absorbed it in this area because it's starting to almost drag, and that's not comfortable.
Right.
So you would stop and proceed to the next area until it's completely absorbed. And then once it's completely absorbed, you've done your job.
And I often, when doing demos, I'll often actually do the palm as well. I know that you don't always have to do that, but it really probably depends more on the client and their skin?
It depends on the client and the skin. Now, what we're really doing here is there's stem cell of the sea fennel, elastin, panthenol, and jojoba oil. What we're typically doing is we're addressing the back of the hand because that's where you're going to find crepiness and that's where you're going to find age spots.
Right.
This feels pretty amazing when it's on the back of the hand, but you're not going to find the problems that you need to address. So I do tend to ignore that a little bit. I turn it off. Everything is going to be sanitized, by the way, after with our Microzid spray, which is effective in 15 seconds.
Yeah, those sprays that we use, we get them from our manufacturer in Germany. They're not EPA approved in the United States, so they really become what we call a second line of defense. In other words, you can keep them on your table, use them, but if you have someone coming in to check out what you have for
your
hygiene.
state boards, you're still going to need your whatever your state board is. Even if this is a stronger, more efficient product, it does become your personal second line of defense as opposed to what your state boards may or may not regulate you to have. So whatever your state board says, you must have in the salon. What you do to protect yourself secondary and higher is
right.
Up
This
to
is
you.
medical grade, and
Absolutely.
I know around the country, different countries, everyone seems to use something a little bit different, but this is just what we use here.
Right. Okay, so I think you've noticed I was doing a little more pushing in just to make sure. I really wish you could feel this because it has a very unique, almost plumping feel to it. And Tina, you can't because you have only one hand.
I only have one hand. I'm holding
Never mind, you can't
the
feel
phone in
it.
the other. I know.
This is our overnight mask, anti-age overnight mask.
And again, they are available in these 300 ml sizes here. This is a nice presentation at your desk. If you want to do something like this and have it right there, it's just it has an elegance to it. Not everyone has the room, but if you can, or even in a back bar area, that's a nice place for a dispensary.
I know there's several salons who use it because they feel that it eliminates the overuse of products when technicians are using it.
Right.
Typically
typically one pump is 5 ml,
right.
which is what you have for a service. Now, Michelle, I noticed that you're using what we call the spa mask brush. You're using this because why?
Well, I'm using this, first of all, because it feels absolutely amazing.
That I can attest to.
I'm also using it because it's much more effective in dispensing the product properly. You need a very thin coating with this product. It's a shea butter based mask, which means this does not get rinsed off. So as you can see, it's very thin. And I did do the back and the palm of her hand as well for this because it's just more luxurious. Now, I am gonna take a towel. You can do a hot towel, you can do a hot dry, hot wet. I prefer hot dry towels. You can do a paraffin at this point. You can do heated mitts at this point. What you wanna do is have anywhere between, again, 3 and 5 minutes, which we will not have for this video. And you're going to cover that hand. Again, the time is going to go by because while you're working on this hand, you'll be doing the other hand. So you're gonna wanna keep that nice and warm, and you can make this as unique as possible. Again, you can do just a hot towel, you can do heated mitts. One of the things that I love, especially if you're in the Northeast or in an area that gets cold very often, what we do is a heated electric mat that you would put in your bed, but instead have it underneath your towel and turn it on low so the entire surface of your table is always warm, which just adds even more luxury to it. So time elapsed, 3 to 5 minutes.
That was quick.
Now, if you were a typical client, you'd be timing me and complaining.
Well, when it's a luxury treatment.
Exactly, so much for my luxury.
Now, do you have to wash this off?
This does not get washed off. As you can see, I'm pushing anything else that's in there, that's sitting on the surface. I'm gonna massage it in. And I think that you've noticed that every application has some form of luxury in it. So even if I'm just putting on the peeling cream, while I'm doing that, I'm still massaging. So this really becomes a service that is complete luxury to the client, and beneficial, of course.
Right, and you can take your time with this. You could create an express service, all that. It just depends on how quickly.
Absolutely. We have a beautiful brochure that has all sorts of different ideas. We have another one even different than that, that's called Setting Yourself Up to Win with Anti-Age, and it goes in a little more detail on how to plan parties around anti-age, how an esthetician can add this to their services, how a hairdresser can add this to their services.
Yeah, we've had clients who've been processing their color, and they get within that 20 minutes of time, they'll get a more express version of an anti-age service. So how great is that you have extra service income in a dead zone where your client's usually sitting back, reading a magazine or on their phone.
And by the way, if they have hair, age, old, gray hair, processing time is 35 minutes.
Yeah,
so you have a long time for you to do an anti-age treatment on them. Now this is our last step. She really is as hydrated as she could possibly get. But this is going to be our final closing massage. This is the anti-age hand cream.
All right, the hand cream.
So typically, while I am doing this, I will then explain to them a few of the retail benefits to the product. And I used an awful lot of that. Used too much.
Rub it in.
I'm an overuser. Nellie, I overused.
So this is a great time. It's a closing. It's a great time to talk about the retail experience. We have these great little retail kits here that have the 3 products. It does not contain the bath, because really this is for your client.
These are just the anti-age products that have the 4 products.
Or the
stem cell of the FENNEL, which is pigmentation lightening, ELASTIN for the crepey skin, PANTHENOL, and JOJOBA. Now we have in those products, and if you can just pan back over here, what I typically tell people, first I do my consultation, and they're going to say, how long will it take for me to see results? You're going to see results instantly. How often do I have to come in for this service? If you're going to come in on a weekly basis, which is fabulous, you do not need to take home care home necessarily. If you're going to go anywhere longer than a week between services, unfortunately, I am doing benefits and then you're taking away. So time is just going to continually pass. If you're going to come in every 2 weeks, there's a few products that I'd like you to know about. The first one is, let's see if you're crepey. If you're crepey, I'm going to recommend the Anti-Age Overnight Mask, because this product has more elastin in it than any of the other products. Let's say they have age spots. I'm going to have them come home with the lifting concentrate. And why? Because that has more stem cell of the FENNEL, and that's a lightening pigmentation. Now let's say you're a 30-year-old and you're just looking for prevention. That's your, like me, that's your anti-age cream. If they're taking the kit home and they want to know the instructions, and by the way, we do have a take-home pad that has different instructions, and you can check the boxes off and what you need and what you don't need. What they're going to do as a home care routine, which is not unlike a skincare routine. There is nobody over the age of 40 who does not have a skincare routine that they're not following.
Right.
So why wouldn't they follow it on their hands? So what they would do at night is they're going to use 1 pump of the anti-age lifting concentrate.
And what I say is, it's the last thing right before they get into bed.
It's the last thing before they get to bed. 1 pump on the back of each hand, and remember, They're going to want to push this in till it's completely absorbed.
Right.
The next thing they're going to do is layer a pea-size amount of the Anti-Age Overnight Mask, massage that in, and as it says overnight, let them sleep in it overnight. And then this goes home with them in their pocketbook. Anytime they feel that they need any hydration, this is their everyday go-to hand cream.
Right. Yeah, and that's exactly what I do at night. I apply the Anti-Age Lifting Concentrate and then the mask, and I just let it absorb overnight. And especially in the wintertime, it makes your hands feel so much better.
All right, I think you have been anti-aged.
I feel so much younger on one hand.
I would like you to show the other hand.
I can't. I'm holding on to my phone. I can't do that. But
guys, trust me, the other hand looks old. Kidding.
So anyway, I hope that this was beneficial to you. And if you have further questions, you're always able to reach out to us at info@lcnusa.com. The products are all available to you, and if you're in different countries, we have, I think, partners in over 80 countries in the world, most of which carry this product line. It has been within the LCN lineup for many, many years and is a beloved line. So kudos to you, Michelle.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll hopefully get another one of these type of videos out soon, maybe with another featured product. Somebody would just have to ask us.
Absolutely.
Okay, take care.
Let us know.
Bye.
Bye.